So your Instagram bio says future billionaire.
Yeah.
What's your plans to make 10 figures?
Law of attraction.
There's a lot of people that are about to click away right now. They're like, law of attraction, this is BS.
I got to how I am today in a way I could have never predicted, never mapped out prior. And I'm like, if it worked for this, if it worked for getting my first 10 grand, my first million, my first multi-million, why not apply the same law of attraction to a billion? There's about 2,500 billionaires on the planet. And yet there's more people with $1 million in America than six packs. There's so many millionaires. Being a millionaire is very common. More common than having a six pack. So if it's like a small handful of people, you know, and it'd be cool to just be one of them and be like, I got here because I believed I already was a billionaire.
Mm.
Yeah, and I've used law of attraction for other things too, not just money, but deliberately used it. We're all using it at all times. But I just want to be outspoken about it and deliberately use it.
So how do you define it?
The deliberate use of the law of attraction?
Yes, sir.
Be okay with being delusional and feeling as if the thing you want, you already have. So act as if you already have the thing. Feel as if you already have the thing. Feel as if you already are the thing. Feel as if you're there now, as if you have it now, as if it's done. So I did this, you know, with so many things, bro. Like my first girlfriend, my first dream car, winning triathlons, you know, 10K, 20K, 50K, 100 grand, $1 million, multimillionaire, like all these things I felt into existence. They were not part of my reality. I acted as if it was my reality. And in a very short period of time, it became my reality in a way that was like, again, I couldn't have mapped out how.
So have you always been delusional, or was there something that triggered you into using this intentionally?
Well, as a kid growing up, I played soccer and I was the captain of the soccer team.
I didn't know you played soccer.
Yeah.
How European of you?
Oh,
you were like way ahead of the time, man.
Oh, yeah.
Early adopter for American football.
Yeah. This is my life.
Soccer,
football. And so going into every game, I was delusional looking back, because every game I went into, I was like, we're going to win for sure. And I'm going to score for sure. 100%. Just give me the ball. It's going in. 100%.
There's a callback. I wasn't going to bring it up. 1,000%.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You would have won if you had said 1,000%.
1,000%. So looking back, I was delusional. And then when I got into triathlon too, same thing. I'd show up to these races and I'm like, oh, I'm going to win for sure. And even though there's guys here that were faster than me, they've been swimming their whole lives, biking their whole lives, running, I was like this noob. And I was like, oh, I'm going to win. And at first I didn't. But I kept thinking like, oh, I got this. No problem. I got this. And then eventually I won. Same with like my dream girl. The girl I lost my virginity to was my dream girl, completely out of my league at the time. And I just like willed her into existence. I willed her into my reality. And I was just like I kept feeling like, oh, she's already mine. I'm already dating her. It's done. It's a wrap. So I've applied this to various aspects of my life. And there's a clip on YouTube when I first learned about law of attraction, completely changed my life. I somehow came across that video, don't know how, just popped up my newsfeed on YouTube back 10 plus years ago. And I didn't really believe what he was saying, but he basically said that thoughts become things, like physical things. Mm-hmm. And all you've got to do is write down what you want, think about them every day, act as if they're already yours, it's already here, and in just a matter of time, it will be done. And it sounded too simple, but I'm like, this guy's way more successful than me. I've got nothing going for me. I've nothing to lose. I might as well try it. And I remember feeling embarrassed writing my list.
Yeah, man.
I was like, I want a golden retriever. I want to go to Thailand. I want to make money online. That was super unrealistic. Making money online? Yeah, right, dude. Especially back then. But I wrote it all down. And I found that notepad years later, and everything on that list was like check. And it was so obvious. And looking back, I was like, why didn't I dream bigger? Like these things came so effortlessly. So that's why I'm applying it to.
Yeah.
Billionaire.
And is that something that you intuitively had in you, or is that something that you had to train into yourself? Well,
like I said, growing up in soccer, I've applied it directionally. Right. So you can apply this directionally. Like so when you say, oh, this person's very confident, people are confident in certain areas of life.
Sure.
Like a confident UFC fighter. Boom, he's confident in the ring. But get him to go sing on stage. He's probably going to be freaking out. He can't sing. Get him to go fly a fighter pilot. Dude,
it's tough to fly a fighter pilot.
A jet. Go get him to fly a jet, right? And he'll be freaking out. So we're confident in different domains of life. And so I've just tried to take what I used in soccer and take what I've used in triathlon and sport and now apply it to other areas of life. And some areas still scare the shit out of me, like jumping off cliffs. I go cliff jumping. I want to be that confident guy. I'm the last guy to jump. All my friends go first. I am the last one. Everyone's like, come on, you pussy. And then I need someone to call me pussy to my face for me to even jump. Because I'd rather not.
Sure.
But if you call me pussy enough, I will jump. I'm not a pussy. Let me show it to you. So yeah, but I guess with enough practice, you can build up confidence in any area.
So you have these dreams, you have these goals, you write them down, you're attracting them to you. You say that, you can't really plan these things. How do you actually start taking action towards these things? Because it's not like you can just sit in a room and attract. Like you work harder than most people I know. You're very methodical. You're very strategic. So how do you kind of marry those two things together?
You can plan them. It just might not go according to plan.
Right.
I'm a big fan of planning for planning's sake.
Yes.
Not for following the plan to the letter's sake. So it's like that famous quote, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And there's the other quote I love, which is prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Love it. 7 Ps.
Yeah.
I don't know how many it was. I just took a stab.
That's a good one. Good guess. I'd go with that. So I like planning for planning's sake. It shows you what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
What it does is it shows you that it is possible. Period. If I just do this and this and if I make 400 phone calls and I have a 1 in 4 close rate, that means 100 people are going to say yeah to me.
Yeah.
If I have a $10,000 offer and 100 people say yeah, that's $1 million. That's the plan on paper. Sounds good, cool. But now go get those 400 phone calls. And you might realize that, half the people don't even pick up. Those that do pick up, they're not a good fit. Those that are a good fit, they can't afford it. And then you don't have your objection script front and center. You don't know how to handle objections. Your tonality sucks on the phone. Yeah. You may close 3 of them because you're so bad, right? But at least you planned.
Do you know what the difference is between a trip and an adventure?
No.
An adventure is when something goes wrong.
Oh, cool.
So I feel like in this scenario, the plan is this is what we anticipate will happen, and inevitably something will go wrong. It turns into the adventure, and then that's what leads to the pot of gold.
Cool. Love it. I like that. Adventures are fun.
Yeah.
Who wants to watch a movie about a trip? Sounds lame.
It's okay, Frodo, here's the ring, and Frodo just marches straight to Mordor, drops it in the volcano, end movie, 14 minutes.
Yeah, it's too, you wouldn't go watch a football match if you knew the score. You knew when the goals are going to be scored.
Sure.
You'd be like, lame. You go there because you don't know.
So how do you take the negative feedback from the plan to course correct and ultimately get to the goal and surpass the goal?
I found this quote from Edison years ago and I loved it. He's like, I haven't failed 1,000 times. I've just found 1,000 things that didn't work to create the light bulb. And so I'm a big proponent. My team will hear me say this a lot. I'm like, cross that off the list. Check that box. Leave that's off the list. I do it with people too. If somebody does something shady or says something sketchy, I'm like, they crossed themselves off the list. Cool. My list is now shorter.
Yeah.
I've consolidated the list now. It's shorter, cleaner, tighter. So it's great. I like when things don't work and it doesn't screw me over that much because I'm like, there's one less option now. So the options we're left with are much more certain to succeed.
Do you think the fewer things you have on the list, the more money you make?
I don't think that you need to have a long list. So sure.
So when you start off, for example, you want to make money online. There are a million ways to make money online. And we all go through that early stages where it's no, drop shipping didn't work. No, I'm not going to write Kindle books. No, I'm not going to do that. And then once you find your thing, communities, this is awesome. Then there's a million ways to do communities. Yep. And then you pick one way. There's a million ways to do sales calls. It's just eliminate.
This is why when you ask how you going to get to a Billy, I'm like, bro, there's a billion ways to make $1 billion.
Right.
So it's like, how could I can't predict which I'm going to cross off the list.
So what?
And like, we're all one phone call away from being like, yo, you want to come do this crazy thing and make this investment? It's going to blow up for sure. Like we're all a phone call away.
Yeah.
Of putting like 100 grand into something and now it being worth 10 million. Taking the 10 million, putting it into something that's going to be worth now 100 million. Take the 100 million, put it into something that's going to become $1 billion. Like these things have already happened. They're probably going to continue to happen. I'm very young. I'm very new to this space. Like I'd be surprised if more of those things don't come up. Very surprised. Especially now that we're hanging around the right kind of people. I used to hang around losers, bro. Only losers. And I say that because like I was one of them and we all admitted to being a loser. We were definitely losing in the game of life. We weren't healthy. We weren't happy. We weren't fit. We weren't doing the things we wanted to do every day. We were losing at the game of life. Now I'm hanging around a bunch of winners. We do what we love all day. We're creative. We're helping people. We're changing the world for the better. We're into health. We're into fitness. We're into community, like healthy things. We're hanging around a bunch of winners. So it's like, and I just started hanging around a bunch of winners like less than half a decade ago.
Right.
So just watch this space.
Because you had to take a lot of things off that list.
Oh yeah.
Like you were dealing for a while.
Yeah.
You selling weed?
Yeah.
You're selling weed. What else? What other weird stuff did you do?
I don't want to incriminate myself, but illegal things, dude. Let's just say it started with firecrackers.
Right.
And it went downhill from there.
Sure. But even that, if you have an open mindset, you're just taking things off the list.
Yeah.
No, this doesn't work. No, this isn't good. This isn't good for me. This isn't good for people around me. So what path are you currently on that at least directionally will lead you towards $1 billion, and how did you get on that path?
Proximity with powerful people. That's the path. I don't see how it's possible to fail at life if you're constantly surrounding yourself with successful people. Even if you're not even doing anything, you're just around them. I've seen it. I won't name names, but there's people that we know who just by hanging around successful people, all of a sudden, boom, everything improves in their life. Proximity is the plan as of right now.
Who was the first powerful person that helped you on that path? And they're probably radically different to who it would be now.
In person or like online?
Dealer's choice.
In person is an interesting one. And in person, meaning like, did I see them on stage or did we actually hang out? I think one of the most powerful people who I got to literally rub shoulders with, like physically, his shoulder, my shoulder made physical contact and rubbed because he's sitting right next to me.
You're like putting a little extra bit of friction on there. Come on, give me some of that.
Yeah, exactly. Sitting at this round table at Funnel Hacking Live, and it was Dan Henry. At the time, I was making no money. I mean, I had a $300 product. I thought that was high ticket. Sitting next to him, his program was $5K at the time. And oh my God, the person who sat down at that table was a different person that got up and left.
Interesting.
Completely different.
Do you think it's different in person? Because I believe 100%. That there's something that happens on a neuro something level that changes.
I've never cried listening to an MP3 because the music was so good. I've cried several times. Almost every time I go to a live concert, I'm front row. I cry every time. I can't help it. It's fucking powerful. It penetrates the atoms, penetrates my cells, vibrates them in a way that like brings tears to my eyes. That's like almost a guaranteed way to make me cry. Just put me front row, some good concert. Yeah. Like, this is fucking beautiful. Mm-hmm. So yeah, live is different. Live is very different. So yeah, I recommend learning online on YouTube and podcasts, but like to get around people in person, IRL.
Yeah, well, really the online content is just a way to filter out who you want to get in front of in real life.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at YouTube like Tinder. Swipe, swipe, swipe. When you find the one,
oh, that's a good one. Kindle like Twinder, like Tinder.
Yeah,
interesting. So, who recently has shown you the way?
Well, as we discussed, I don't know if there is the way, but there are ways. Going to the Skool Games, dude. Taking notes, learning from everyone in the audience there. Just everyone who you're interviewing. I've learned from all these people in person and on YouTube. Obviously, sitting next to Sam for hours at a time has completely changed the way I look at business. He operates very differently. So learning from Sam in person and then Hormozy in person, also game changer. I don't watch much YouTube anymore at all. Sam asked me the other day, he's like, who do you watch on YouTube? I go and open my history. It's just all music. Like I don't really watch anyone on YouTube. And yet every time I do watch a little Hormozi clip or a Hormozi video, I'm like, this is so good. It's unbelievably good. But I just can't seem to bring myself to sit down and watch a video.
Sure.
But when I'm in person, in front of him, I'm stuck in the room with him for 8 hours. I'm just taking notes. I get absolute gold. My notes are so good. And Sam beside me is taking notes too, you know? So Sam and Hormozi, learned so much from them lately in person.
Cool. You're an early investor in Skool.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
Right time, right place. It's exactly what I'm talking about, bro. It should not have happened. I joined, so Sam was, here's exactly what happened. Long story made interesting, I hope. Sam launched a Black Friday deal. Sam didn't really know who I was. I briefly DM'd him a couple times showing him what some competitors were doing. I'm like, yo, look what these guys are doing. Look what these guys are doing. That was it. That was my interaction with Sam. And then he might have mentioned my name on office hours once or twice when I asked a question. Black Friday came. He launched a deal. WeTube, $1,000. You get access to all of his YouTube growth material. Plus, if you get to level 7, you'd get access to a quantum recording. So I was like, let's get to level 7. So I started like commenting like crazy and like liking everyone's stuff. So they saw me liking them, they liked me back. And then I got in a conversation with your buddy, Matthew Morgan.
Yes, sir.
We started having conversations in the threads,
right?
Rather than DMing each other, we just have live conversations.
You gotta get those points.
Yeah.
We farm those points, man.
Yeah. Like I could see him typing and boom, get back and forth. We see you
in the Skool community doing this right now.
Yeah, we are point farming for sure. And then we both got to level 7, and I then went and watched Quantum. I'm like, I was one of the first person, if not the first person to get level 7. So I was like, I'm gonna be the first person to go through Quantum because I want to be in the lead here. I see all these thousands of other people trying to get level 7. I want to get here and go through it as fast as possible. So I binge watched Quantum as I was eating my meals every day. And as I was watching Quantum, there was this 2-minute part of one of the recordings where Sam talks about school. And somebody raises their hand and asks about investing. I pause the video, message Sam and says, how can I invest in Skool?
Wow.
And he responds with how much? So I sent him an amount. He sent me the filings, the paperwork. I filled it out, sent it back. And then right when I sent it to him, I was like, fuck, that's not enough. So I was like, cancel that. Send me a new thing, but this time put this much money. And then he sent me an updated version, which I'm so glad he did. And I gave him that amount. And now that amount has, I don't even know how I'm legally allowed to say, but it's done very, 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 very well. Best investment of my life.
Yeah. Was it
an unbelievable amount?
Was it a substantial amount of money that you invested at the time?
Yeah, a large portion of my net worth at the time. But I was like, if Sam's going all in.
Mm-hmm.
He knows more than I do about business and everything. And sometimes the smartest thing you can do is admit you're dumb. So I admitted I was dumb. It's like, here's a lot of the money I have to my name. Let's make this work. And once I invested, I was like, I'm going to help Sam make this product good because I need my money to grow. I need a return.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
So when I look at your journey, which I think is awesome, I feel like you investing in Skool was such a key part for getting you to where you are today because it gave you skin in the game in the community model.
Biggest investment of my life by far, dude.
Even if, let's say it's some sort of weird, awful scenario, your contract's voided, Skool sells for billions of dollars, you don't get it back, still probably the best investment of your life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The huge payday is just the cherry on top.
Mm-hmm. And what's crazy too about that investment is I had a buddy who owed me money for years. And it was like a lot of money. And he didn't pay me back until like a couple days before that quantum recording. So if he didn't give me that money back, I wouldn't have had the money to invest.
Yeah.
I was so broke. So I needed him to pay me back. As soon as he paid me back, boom, put it in Skool, and then now here we are. Just timing.
Mm-hmm. So we talked earlier, there's like a million ways to make money. There's a million ways to make money online. You have gone down the path and have had a lot of success with this kind of new business model that's emerging, which is the community model. How would you describe that to someone who's never heard of it before? And how did you start building with it?
A lot of people ask me if they need a community. creators, educators, Instagrammers, YouTubers, like, why do I need a community? Why do I need Skool? And I respond with a question. I say, where does your audience interact with one another? They're like, they don't. Or it's like in the comments. Well, the comment section is garbage. And if your audience is not interacting with one another, that's a problem. You're missing out on having your people do a lot of the selling for you. A lot of our sales come from other people in the community telling other people to sign up for our program. They're like, I just signed up. It's freaking amazing. You should do it. Or I signed up last month, got these great results. You should join. So we have like active salespeople in our community now, just being community members, selling other people for us. The thing about having a community on Skool specifically versus a Facebook group, I think one of the big differences is the reach. When you make a post on Skool, it goes to 100% of the members. When you make a post in a Facebook group, it goes to maybe 3 or 4%, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah. Garbage.
I have a group with 3,500 people on Facebook. I made a post the other day. Good video, solid video. Facebook even tells you the reach. It was like, reach 35 people. Like, bro, 35 people, I have 3,500 people in there. Skool goes to everybody, bro. So the algorithm doesn't mess you up on Skool. 100% deliverability rate, just like an email. But plus, to me, the big difference between an email list versus Skool is email list is like you're standing on stage speaking to a big audience of people. You're just broadcasting a message, one to many. Whereas a Skool community is like when you get off stage and you walk around and you give people like high fives and hugs and spin them around and like kiss them on the cheek and be like, you rock, dude, right to their face. And like Tony Robbins off stage. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And you get to do that with every single person.
It's funny you say that. I was having a conversation with someone the other day and I said, have you ever been to a conference where the content was really average? Like this people on stage, they were just okay, but you got so much value out of it because of the conversations you had with everyone who was there. And everyone was like, yeah, of course. I'm like, that's the community method.
Yeah. Just the people alone.
And I think even inside our communities, the content can be good and still crush because the community is excellent.
Yep. Definitely.
Whereas if you post good content on YouTube, you tank.
Yeah, you need the community. It's huge. Almost all the people, like the powerful people in my life now, I've met directly in a Skool community, which led to a DM, which led to a Zoom, which led to us hanging out in person, getting each other's WhatsApp. Like almost all the powerful people in my life. I go through my phone contact section. You say, Ted, bring up the top 10 most powerful, influential people you have. Met them all in Skool. Just from the community to a DM to a Zoom. It's kind of like selling a client, but you're like selling someone being your friend. Yeah.
Why do you think Skool has facilitated that? Is it because it's early stage and so it's kind of small? Is there another reason?
Good question. I think that's what Facebook wanted to do. I think it's what other community platforms try to do. But there's so much friction in the way. Skool's just eliminated the friction and made it so simple and clean to do that. Like on other communities, other stuff gets in the way. Skool, it's like there's nothing to get in the way of like you see the feed, you see the person's name, you click DM, you're DMing them now. There's nothing in the way. So it's just so clean. Everyone knows how to use it instantly. Yeah. Other communities don't maybe perhaps optimize for that. It's a feature, but they don't optimize for it. Skool's optimized for that.
Yeah. How'd you start building your community on the platform?
How did I?
Yes, sir.
I realized that telling people about my community didn't really work. Telling people, hey, I got this community, come join. You'd think that would make sense to do. Like, well, what's the most obvious way to grow a community? How about tell people you have it? No. Turns out that's not the best way. Big mistake. The best way to grow your community is by not telling people you have a community. It's by telling people you have this really amazing free thing. It's a free workshop. It's a free PDF. It's a free mini cheat sheet, whatever. And you can get it by clicking this link. They click the link, takes them to the Skool community. Done. And then example I like to give is saying like, you wouldn't go up to a bunch of strangers and say, hey, you want to come to my backyard? Want to come to my backyard? Like you can ask 100 people that and you might get a couple lonely people saying, sure, I'll come to your backyard. But if you go to 100 people and say, hey, I'm having a party. At the party, there's going to be this rapper named Drake and Kendrick Lamar. and MGK, and they're all going to be performing.
Did you meet all them on Skool?
No, but maybe one day. And if you want to see them perform, let me know. I'll give you the address. They're like, yeah, I'll come to the backyard party. Send me the address. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
They come to your backyard. So that's how I eventually started growing my community. And I just kept rinsing and repeating that method. I would create a free thing, make it super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Say, hey, do you want it? They say, yeah, obviously I want it. I say, cool, here's the link. So we've got over 6,000 members in my free community. 6,000 people are there because I gave them something really cool that just so happened to live in the Skool community.
Right. So they came for the thing and they stayed for the community.
Yep.
You gave them what they wanted so you could give them what they needed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that point. I love whenever you apply online things to offline things.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you say, you would never just walk up to someone and say, hey, do you want to come on my back garden? Do you know why I changed it? Because I was going to say, do you want to come on my sofa? And then I was like, oh, you definitely don't want to do that.
Please, no. Please don't come on my sofa.
Because if you ask people, do you want to come to my backyard? They say, oh, it's kind of weird. But if you're like, hey, do you want to grab lunch? Do you want to go to a concert?
Yeah. What are we doing?
You need something to hang your hat on. And then it's the people who are like really, really intimate with you.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll be like, oh yeah, of course I want to come hang out in the backyard. And that's what the community is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you do when you transfer people from a free community into a paid community or paid community into a mastermind. You're just bringing them that little bit closer, just like you would in an offline relationship.
Yep. Exactly. It's easier to meet a stranger at a big party and then be like, hey, we're having an after party. You want to come? Come to the after party. There's like 10% of the people there at the after party, much more intimate. And then you're like, hey, you want to come in the back room for some shots? They come in the back room for some shots of ginger, of course.
Absolutely.
Wheatgrass shots. Come in the back for some wheatgrass shots. Now there's like 3 people in there. And then we're like, hey, tomorrow we're doing a road trip to Vegas for the Skool Games. You want to come? Like, sure. Like, you couldn't just go to a party and be like, you want to come in a car? We're going to Vegas tomorrow? Like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, apply real life
It's the funnel.
human psychology to school, to online. It works really well.
Cool. What else? Because you're one of the first to market, I would say, on Skool with the community model. You have one of the most successful communities. What advice, what gold have you learned along the way?
So much, bro.
Whenever it comes to someone who's building their community.
So much. But one thing is...
What things have you crossed off your list?
One thing is... Beginners, pretty much all, very few exceptions. I'd almost go as far as to say there are no exceptions, but beginners always make the same mistakes. And so if you just learn what those mistakes are and don't do them, you'll win. So Daniel, as you know, young Daniel, Danny boy, he was at my house one time and he wanted to learn to make sourdough bread. He goes on YouTube and types how to make sourdough bread. And up pops a video called 20 Mistakes People Make When Making Sourdough Bread.
Awesome.
So rather than watching a video on how to make sourdough bread, he watches 20 mistakes people make. And mistake number 1 is like, not a big enough pan. So Daniel just gets a bigger pan. Then he's like, people use too much water. So Daniel makes sure he doesn't use too much water. And like whatever the guy says not to do, Daniel just does the opposite. And by the end, Daniel made the most perfect loaf of sourdough bread, which you're not even supposed to be able to do your first time around. It's supposed to be impossible to make a good sourdough bread your first time because there's so many steps and so many mistakes you can possibly make, which beginners are bound to fall into. But Daniel specifically went step by step what not to do.
Mm.
And so by the end, he made a perfect loaf. And so I think just by paying attention to what not to do, you'll be great. In the same way, it's like, how do you be healthy? Well, don't do unhealthy things.
Right.
Don't stay up late. Don't eat a bunch of processed food. Don't sit around all day and do nothing. Don't be alone all day by yourself. Don't stay stuck indoors without like natural sunlight and without fresh air. Like, here are things not to do. Don't smoke, don't drink. By not doing those things, you'll naturally be healthy.
Mm.
And so I would study the mistakes people make. And a few of the mistakes are, like I said, just telling people to come to your community. That's a brutal mistake. Another one is not having a really clear end result. What's the point of the community? Why am I here? What are we looking to achieve? And just be blatant about it. If you're helping people like align their chakras with their partner, what does that actually mean?
Right.
How do I align my chakra with my partner? Why don't you just say like fix your marriage? Or just say like find your soulmate. Just say it. Or like a great example. One of my clients came to me and she wanted to help chiropractors with their branding. I was like, what do you mean by that? She's like, I just want to help them like feel more aligned with their brand. And I was like, well, I'm putting myself in the shoe of a chiropractor. Would I pay 10 grand to align myself with my brand? No. So then I was like, would these chiropractors end up getting more patients, more clients? She's like, oh yeah, for sure. Okay, well, if they got more patients, more clients, do you think they'd be able to make more money? She's like, oh, for sure. Okay, then just say, I help chiropractors make more money. She's like, oh, but that feels so, weird. I'm like, just say it. Trust me, promise. She says it. Gets on 3 sales calls, tells these chiropractors, I'll help you make more money by improving your brand. 2 of them bought. She made 24 grand in 30 days by just straight up telling them, I will make you more money. Prior to that, she was struggling. No one was buying. No one was even interested. So that's a huge mistake, is just not being clear with the end result. Being too like poetic with it. But so many mistakes, dude. Like thinking you can do it all by yourself as well. That's a brutal mistake a lot of beginners fall into. They fall for this solopreneurship lie, thinking that they're going to do it all by themselves. They're going to make all this money with just their backpack and their laptop, and it's just them against the world. But there's so many potential cool partnerships you could have. Like somebody could take care of all your sales calls for you if you want. You could have someone who does the community management for you if you want. You can have someone who does like the coaching calls for you, so you don't even need to do the group coaching. You can just do like the private one-on-one stuff. Like there's so many different types of partnerships. And as soon as I found a really good partner, he became COO, Chief Operating Officer. That's when my business really took off and I really got to experience complete freedom. So that's another big mistake, is just not looking for a partner in crime.
That is what a mentor or coach does. They hand you the sheet of paper with all the things that they've crossed out on it. So like the sourdough bread example, or what we keep talking about this whole episode, where it's like your path towards making more money has just been eliminating things off the list. And you can join a community and join someone's program and just get that list.
Yeah. Dude, I spoke with the real estate agent, professional, my friend who crushes it with real estate. I spoke with her yesterday because I'm like thinking about maybe getting a property here in America, so I have a spot to live. And within an hour of speaking with her, just casually, asking her how she succeeded with real estate, without even me necessarily asking her specific questions, she just told me like how she succeeded. She told me a lot of the mistakes she had made and she see other people make. And everything she said, all the mistakes she said not to do, those were things I was going to do. I was like, oh, I'll do that. And I was like, well, that's a shitty idea now. She'd be like, oh, this thing is so dumb. Like whoever does this is just going to lose a lot of money. And I'm like, that was going to be me. So it's like, you just got to talk to people who succeed. You're not going to make those dumb mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And on schools, people are so generous, man. You can DM anyone and be like, just ask that question. Like, what's a big mistake you see people make with this? And they'll happily help. Mm-hmm. I used to think rich people hid their secrets to success, but you interviewed those billionaire interviewer boys, right?
Yeah,
what are their names? Skool Hard Knocks.
Yeah, yeah.
They just go up and ask rich people, like, how do you become rich?
Yeah.
And they'll happily tell you. Fascinating.
It's interesting. There's people on the platform who, when you trace back the origins of a lot of Skool Games winners, they're connected to. So Max Pearson's one of them. You're another one. Where a lot of the people that I've interviewed on this show, in the conversation, it comes up, it's like, yeah, I hopped on a call with Ted Carr. Yeah, I joined Ted Carr's community. Yeah, I saw Ted Carr's video on YouTube. Why do you think that you guys have been able to get such good results for people? Because I'm thinking like Goose, I'm thinking Farhoon. I remember I bought your mastermind like when I just joined Skool, like back in January, or whenever you were doing the push with Daniel.
It's because we target beginners.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the widest pick of the lot, so to speak. All the noobs come to us. So then when a Farhoon pops off, makes 100 grand. When Patrice comes to us and pops off, makes 20
Did she
grand.
win? Actually, I meant to check.
Let's check right now,
Let's
dude.
check right now.
She was top 10 this morning at like 23 grand or something.
While I'm looking for that. You work with beginners, but beginners are notoriously hard to work with. So how do you get around that?
They're notoriously hard to work with if you lack...
She won.
She won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come
Patrice.
on, Patrice.
There we go.
She came 7th place with
Wow.
$29,000.
There we go, bro.
Incredible.
She texted me this morning. I woke up to this text. She's like, Ted, I think I'm going to have to film a new testimonial for you because I'm going to hit 30K this month.
You know what's funny? I spoke with her at 5 a.m. this morning and she said that exact thing. She was like, I needed to record a new testimonial for Ted.
Hilarious. Yeah, beautiful. So, yeah, but Patrice was a complete noob. Farhoon was a complete noob. Goose, complete noob in this online space. He had some real estate experience. But like, the list of names can go on, but like, I specifically help the noobs because I was a noob, and there's very few people giving good advice to noobs. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because they lack patience. I'm a pretty patient guy, and I'm okay with repeating myself a million times. And pretty much everything I tell these noobs, and I don't want to use that word like derogatorily, but like newbies, beginners, I repeat myself in almost every coaching call, almost every YouTube video. I say the same things over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's not until like the 5th or 6th time someone hears it that they actually like, oh, I'll probably do it now. Like, I'll do that. I'll take action on that. They know I've said it before. It's a reminder. So I'm good at reminding people. I'm okay with reminding people.
But if we drill into that a little bit, because most people who start communities are going to have noobs in it. Mm-hmm. They're going to be like noob chess players, noob pottery people, noob podcasters, noob blah, 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 blah. So you said patience, being okay with repeating yourself, understanding that you're going to have to spend a lot of time to get these people to get their first result.
Yeah, well, no. See, that's a myth right there.
Let's debunk it.
That's a myth right there. The myth is, if you're a beginner, it's going to take some time. Mm-hmm. That's complete BS. If you're a beginner, I can help you make $1,000 tomorrow. Like, just follow my scripts, do what I say. If someone sits down beside me right here physically, they take out their laptop, take out their phone, I can make them $1,000 in 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Just send this message to these people, say this on the phone, like this, with this tonality, offer them this. I guarantee you make $1,000 in 24 hours. Close to a guarantee as possible.
Sure.
Can't take a gun to someone's head and force them to give you money, but we'll set you up for like the best chance success. So, but that's only because the reason I've gotten good at helping beginners get results very, very, very quickly, I think faster than anyone, is because I've segregated and separated my communities from beginner and advanced. So I have a community, it's called The Family, and on the About page, it says no beginners allowed. This community is only for you if you're making more than $2,500 a month.
Nice.
Whereas the other community is just for beginners. And it used to say, make your first 10 grand. But after speaking with thousands of beginners, 10 grand is super unrealistic. Most of them want to make like around 5 grand. So whereas to me, 5 grand is ridiculously low. It's like poverty level. That's what the beginners want. So now I say it. I'm like, this community is for you if you want to make 5 grand a month. So it attracts so many more beginners. Like, yeah, 5 grand, that's for me. And then once we make them the first 5 grand, they're going to want 10 grand, et cetera, and more. But yeah, you gotta level with them. It's like the high diving analogy. Like if someone's too scared to jump off that height, even though it's very safe, they're still too scared. They want to do the baby dive. Fine, teach them the baby dive. It's not that exciting, like whoop-de-doo, baby dive. But to them, they're like, oh my God, I jumped in the water. Now you're like, okay, now let's go to the high dive, right? So that's like that 5 to 10K gap. There's a huge difference.
So getting clear on if you're serving beginners. And
yes,
if you
you have to commit to them.
Just,
because
messaging,
beginners,
everything.
yes, the beginners speak a different language.
Keep the experts out of that community.
Yep.
Because I'm even thinking like the chess example, it would be impossible to have a chess community where you're trying to serve everybody.
Oh yeah.
Like imagine trying to teach someone who's never played the game before. So in one half the community, you're teaching people the rules, and the other half you're trying to take like someone from an international master to a grandmaster level.
That's where it gets frustrating. And I see a lot of people get frustrated with beginners because they have a few successful clients, and you're like, why aren't you just like Jimmy? Why aren't you like Matt? But you're like, you separate them and you walk into the kindergarten and you're like, hey kids, this is what a funnel is. This is what a community is. This is what an offer is. And you put on your kindergarten hat. Then the other community is more like college. You're like, okay guys, you guys are already doing 10K plus. Let's show you how to get to 100K.
Right.
It's like you put on your big boy boots and you teach them the good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But oftentimes the good stuff, the more advanced stuff, it really is just making sure that they're doing the fundamentals really well.
Yeah.
Like I made a video this morning on Instagram saying there's really only 8 things you could possibly finesse and perfect if you want to make a lot of money online. It's only 8. So it's a finite menu of things to perfect. It's not like you have to do an infinite amount of things. It's just do these 8 things incredibly well and you'll make a lot of money. So the beginners, you're like showing them what those 8 things are, getting them started, V1, version 1.0. Whereas the advanced people, you're taking those same 8 things and you're just creating like version 5, version 6, version 8. You're polishing them. It's same stuff, just better.
Do you want to hear my favorite Ted Carrism? It's easier to take someone from $1 a month to $10,000 a month than it is from taking them from 0 to 1.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, and that
haunts me.
Yeah.
I think about that when I lie awake at night.
Why?
Because it's so true.
Uh-huh.
And I have spent a lot of time not accepting that reality. And in multiple ventures I've been a part of.
I rarely see someone make $1 and that's it. I don't know what percentage it is, but I'm going to say 90+% of the people who make $1 end up making 1,000 plus.
But what percentage of people make the dollar?
Like less than 1%.
Wow.
Because they'd rather sit there like this with their arms crossed and be like, he can do it, but I can't. It would never work for me. I posted, nothing worked. I did what you said, nothing worked. Like they'd rather sit here like this and just like get joy. Have you heard of JOMO?
The joy of missing out?
Yeah. People have JOMO.
Right.
And they've like been rewarded as a young kid, perhaps growing up even. They've been loved and hugged and shown attention for feeling sad. Like, oh, you're sad, Matthew. Oh, let me give you love. So now you've learned to be sad to get love. You're like, oh, it's not working. And then people give you love. Like, oh, that's how I get love.
The law of rejection rather than the law of attraction.
The law of rejection. Yeah. So if I be sad, I get love. If I fail, I get love.
I get results.
I get the results I'm looking for, which is love.
Yeah.
Whereas me growing up, it's like I had to succeed if I wanted my parental love. Like I had to get good grades. I had to do well in soccer. I had to not be an idiot at family dinner. Like I had to be on best behavior. I couldn't cry. If I cried, my dad got pissed. Mm-hmm. So what are you crying for? I was like, like don't fucking cry as a boy, as a girl, whatever. Different. My sister could cry, but so I learned not to be a wimp, and I didn't get rewarded for being a wimp. There was no reward for being a wimp, but I know for sure a lot of people, a lot of guys get rewarded for being wimps. A lot of women get rewarded for being a nasty woman for some reason. They get rewarded for it. And so they continue on into their adulthood. So when it comes to doing business, same thing applies. They're just like, wouldn't work for me. Show me some love.
But that's why it haunts me. Because for someone to go from 0 to $1 often will require a massive shift in their whole way of looking at everything.
Yep. Their identity changes. You have to now see yourself as somebody who makes money online. Mm-hmm. And just saying that out loud, I am somebody who makes money online, it's like saying I'm vegan. It's a whole identity shift.
It is.
You have to be prepared to walk around like that now.
Yeah.
You're the guy who makes money online. You're the woman who makes money online. You're the woman who quit her job to make money online. Like that is like completely, it's a new identity for sure.
We were talking actually this morning at the mansion over breakfast about the first time we all made money. And my first business, I think I was 15. It's not the first time I made money. It's the first time I made money online was selling t-shirts. And I still remember getting the first PayPal notification. And the reason why it felt so big was because my identity shift in that moment where it's like, I'm an entrepreneur. And here's the proof that I am.
Yeah.
I just sold a t-shirt for $7.
Yeah. And so that moment, that identity shift is something that we try and choreograph with our beginners. So we know if they can get that quick win of like, oh, I am this, that identity change, it snowballs into better results. So what we do is as soon as they join our program, our free community, we get them to take out their phone and text a friend or family member and say, hey, I just joined this coaching program to learn how to become a coach. I want to coach you for free to get some experience. Would you mind if I helped you achieve this goal completely for free just to get some experience? Question mark, smiley face, kiss emoji, send. Send it. Send it to like 10 people. People celebrate when people text them back.
Right.
Like, I got my first beta client. They're so stoked. And then they'll be like, oh my God, my beta client decided to pay me. I am a paid coach. And then everything changes. So we, manufacture that experience. Help them manufacture that experience.
Do you think it would be worthwhile to, in that message, instead of doing it free, do it for $1? Or do you think that would be too big of a barrier for the beginner to jump through to ask a friend for $1?
It's a good question. We could split test it.
I would love to see the results. Because something I've been thinking about a lot is if you get people to set up their Skool community, they have they set a $1 course in their classroom. And then you as the affiliate or you as the person who's helping them set the community, you buy it and you spend $1. Like, would that give the same effect? I don't know.
It's a good question. I love the idea of teaching somebody, like rather than when I teach a sales script, rather than starting, okay, here's how you do the intro of the sales script, here's how you do the middle, here's how you do the close, here's how you collect the money. I do the opposite. When I teach a sales script, I'm like, all right, here's how to collect the money. First 5 minutes of me teaching a sales script, I'm like, here's how to actually collect the credit card. Here's how to process the money. Once you know how to do that, here's how to actually pitch.
So you go backwards.
I go backwards. And so what you just said is interesting because I could tell them, I could say, hey, first beta client, just do it complete for free. Second beta client, get some practice collecting money.
Right.
And tell them, hey, I want to practice collecting money. Can I charge you $1?
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm interested in the idea is because it forces them to set up a classroom. It forces them to set up one-time payment. And now they know that. It's like, okay, well, not just do one for $20, not just do one for $100, not just do one for $1,000. It's like training that muscle. I love how you start with the payment collection for the sales script.
Oh, it's the most rewarding part. If you start at the intro, the payment's so far away. And you have to learn all this material before you actually get money. But if you start at the end, you're like, this is how to actually get the money. It's like, oh, I can do that.
I remember interviewing a guy who makes shorts for Snoop Dogg and Will Smith. He's kind of one of these like viral video creator type guys. And one of his content laws was that the payoff is the hook. So if you take the payoff and turn that into the hook, that's extremely powerful. And that's what you've done with the sales script. You start with a payoff.
Do you have a good example for that in a short?
Yeah. So let's just say, I'll come up with a silly example, but let's say the payoff is the clown jumping out of the box that scares somebody.
Yep.
So the first 3 seconds will be like, whoa! And the person being like, ah! And then you go back to the start of the clip where you show the setup.
Oh, interesting.
So you retain people through the payoff and then they stay to see what the setup was.
Interesting.
It's like an inverse joke.
Yeah, no, that works well. I see reels too when people make food. If they show the first 2 seconds of them biting the lettuce burger,
payoff.
And then they show how they made it, I'm so much more interested versus just saying, here are the materials we're going to use to make this burger. I'm like, I'm out, dude. That's very true.
That's what you're doing.
With that sales training.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good tip.
I'm just really curious, like, how else could we do that with beginners? But it's a subject for a pool in a mansion, probably.
The other reason I think people don't like helping beginners, especially in the business world, is because they don't have much money compared to the pros.
Right.
Working with the pros, like if I hit up all the guys on the Skool Games leaderboard, I know how much money they have. It's listed. These guys Patrice just made 30 grand.
Yep.
I know she's good for 30 grand, you know? But a lot of beginners coming into my world, contentpreneurship, they're coming into my world because they want to make money because they don't have much. And so a lot of people don't want to work with beginners because they're like, oh, they're all broke.
Yeah.
But I think those people, you can change their life in such a big way. Like,
sure.
Such a big way.
And there's more of them.
Way more of them.
And I love, one of my favorite quotes on the planet is, the grass will always be greener unless you water what's around you. And I like the fact that most of the time, you grow your own customers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you take a complete beginner in and then you get them such good results that they naturally just keep spending more and more and more and more and more.
It's a cool concept, creating a customer.
Mhm.
Don't look for customers, just create them.
Yeah.
And I truly believe I could go on the street right now with you. We walk around for a couple hours. We could find a couple high ticket clients out on the street.
For sure.
We'll just create them.
Yeah.
Uber drivers. I could create an Uber driver into a high ticket paying client.
There's a guy in the UK, I think he's English. He just hit like 1 or 2 million on YouTube, and that's what he does. He interviews people on the street. Have you ever thought about starting a business?
Oh, yeah, I know this guy.
And they're like, yeah. And then he will invest in the
Yeah,
business
I've
and
seen
like
that.
work with them. It's so genius.
The guy who asked, what's your dream?
Yes.
What's your dream?
What's your dream?
Yeah.
Ted Carr, what's your dream?
I'm living it, bro. I'm living it right now. But I thought to myself this morning, I need to update my life vision script. It's been on my to-do list for a while. The life I'm living now was once it was a script that I wrote out, super unrealistic. But I wrote it out, I read it, I listened to the recording every night. Now that it's my reality, I need to get around to updating that script. But I think the most recent update I made to it was like I fly private. And I flew here on JSX yesterday. So that's kind of private. So that's already a thing now. Now I got to fly fully private.
Sure.
But yeah, it's even flying JSX a few years ago would have been insane.
Mm-hmm. The brain's a funny thing.
Mm.
You give it something, you give it a target to aim at, and it just starts looking for ways to make it happen.
Yeah. Attracting the right people and putting you in the right time and place. It's fascinating. We've got something called a reticular activating cortex in front of our brain. It's like that whole, like you buy a red car, you see a red car everywhere.
Mm.
So whatever you're thinking about, just it starts popping up. Opportunities start popping up. If they did this study where they just pinged a bunch of people throughout the day randomly during the study, and they're like, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? And the people who made more money, who were making more money in that study, they were just thinking about ways to make money. They're thinking about their business. They're thinking about their clients. They're thinking about a new marketing angle. The people who weren't making much money kept getting pinged. They're thinking about their dog. They're thinking about their car. They got to fill it with gasoline. They're thinking about their grandma's funeral. Like thinking about a whole bunch of stuff that's not business related. So just go ping all the richest people throughout the day. What do you think about? What do you think about? What do you think about? They're thinking about making more money.
Mm.
And so that's why focus is so important. Eliminating distractions is so important. Not just for making money, but in any area of your life, fitness or really relationship or whatever. Sam Ovens says, he's like, focus is just not doing distraction.
Right.
So you cut out the distraction. What do you have? You have focus. So
I love that that's been the theme of the whole conversation. It's just crossing things off the list.
yeah.
How important has been crossing almost everything off your list when it comes to your diet?
Oh yeah, dude. It's the best.
You only eat fruit.
If I can only eat fruit, if it's available, I'll only eat fruit. If no fruit is available, I'll eat rice or sweet potatoes or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, ideally, just fruit. Today I've had kiwis, grapes, and orange juice and a banana. And you feel the best. Like nobody ever eats a meal of fruit. It's like, oh, I feel terrible. They only say that after a burger, after, garbage food. But eating fruit, everyone feels great. So yeah, I had terrible health issues, terrible everything, digestion, body odor, everything was bad when I was eating everything. Then I start cutting things out and instantly I'm like, oh, there's a benefit to no dairy? Wow. There's a benefit to no gluten? Wow. There's a benefit to no eggs? Wow. There's a benefit to no seed oils? Wow. There's a benefit to no deep fried crap? Wow. I didn't know this until I started cutting it out. So the elimination diet is a game changer.
The elimination lifestyle.
Elimination lifestyle.
Yeah. You eliminate people from your life.
Yeah.
You eliminate habits.
Yeah.
Are you ready to
that's
stick
good.
the landing? I think I just found a landing. Are you ready?
Let's
Found
go
a way
for it.
out of this place.
Let's go for it.
Okay. What's been the most important thing that you have eliminated from your life? And what do you think is the most important thing that you need to eliminate next?
I'm going to have a different answer when I walk out here, but shit, I should have told him that. tomorrow I'll text you. Be like, yo, edit the podcast. Say this instead.
Put captions up on the screen.
Yeah. This is a very good question.
If you change your answer and you send me a video, I'll like play it right now.
Okay.
But give me your answer.
Most important thing, I would love to ask you the same question, bro. The most important thing I've eliminated from my life, it's just been such a gradual process, right? So things have been slowly knocked off. I would love to give you a really clear, rock solid answer right now. So let's think of one.
Let's think deeply, as Bijan says.
He does think deeply. Super obvious one is drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Weed. I smoked weed every day for years. So cutting out weed, complete game changer. That's probably a very obvious one.
I think I'll do it with you. We'll have this moment together.
Sure.
I don't want to leave you stranded all by yourself, okay?
Give me something good.
Yeah, come on. I think for me, I'm going to give 2 answers, but it's kind of the same side of the one coin. I would say porn and video games.
Oh, video games are fun though, dude.
Not for me.
Oh, no.
They get me.
What kind of video games?
Dude, anything I could get my hands on.
Like Mario Kart?
I had like 600 days of RuneScape playtime.
That's different from like Smash Bros though, no? Where it's like Smash Bros is a one-time thing. RuneScape adds up.
Well, for me, like for video games, it's or like even like screens in general. I have like the way you hear like alcoholics or drug addicts talk about like, well, I just took one little drink and then da-da-da. Like for me, like if I go and like play Mario Kart at my team this year, we played Mario Kart. It's like Mario Kart time had ended and I was like, I wish we could just keep playing Mario Kart. So for me, I just realized like if I eliminate that from my life, I'm just better. I'm a better husband. I'm a better entrepreneur. I'm a better father. I'm a better
Fascinating,
everything.
Dude.
Yeah.
Cool.
And now I redivert that gamer energy into entrepreneurship.
Sure.
So that's my elimination.
Yeah, interesting. Porn's obviously a good one.
Sure.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's got to be, for me, the weed, and then the same side of the coin as well. Another side of the coin is shitty food.
Mm-hmm.
Shitty food, I look at it as a drug. If I eat shitty food, I feel shitty.
Yeah.
Done. As far as what to eliminate next. Damn, son. Podcasts.
Where'd you find these?
Where'd you find that?
I got mine.
What to eliminate next? What do you got?
Yeah. So kind of related to the first point, but so we don't have a TV in our house. And I have, to my jacket next door, I have like a dumb phone. So I've got like a brick phone. And my house has been in previous times a screen-free zone. And then slowly the last 6 months, like things have crept back in. So I got like a tablet for beside my bed to like write notes in and like read Kindle books. And I have my Notion, blah, 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 blah. And like 2 weeks ago, I literally threw it out of the house. I was like, I got to get rid of this thing because it's affecting my sleep. Because then like, instead of going to sleep, I'm like looking at the calendar or I'm like reading a book or I'm like, da-da-da. I'm like, this needs to get out of here. And going back to the practice of leaving my smartphone like in the office and just not taking it near the home.
Cool.
That is the big game changer for me. Because that's the thing that makes everything in my life better. Like I said before, better husband, better father, better entrepreneur, sleep better, blah, 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 blah.
The elimination of the smartphone?
Yep.
Yeah, I, like most people, have a smartphone problem if it's just me and the phone.
Sure.
Like if I'm home, like before you called me for this podcast today, I was home alone. I was on my phone all day, getting work done, but still on my phone all day, constantly. Checking between 20 different apps, just boom, 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 boom. But that's only when I'm by myself. If I'm around people, like if I'm at the mansion or I'm at the school games or if I'm with you right now, like I'm not a phone junkie.
Yeah, me too.
People cure that for me.
But that alone time is so precious. If you're with your thoughts.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. When you're with your, oh yeah. So this morning I had to go to the toilet. And I was like, oh, I should grab my phone. And I was like, just leave your
Let
phone.
me have a meditative
Go to
shit
the
right
toilet.
now.
Exactly. Go to the toilet on your own. So I went and I'm like, this is beautiful. By myself, no phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of what to eliminate next though, bro, it might be, I don't know. Maybe shouldn't say this out loud because it might not actually happen, but I've been living out of Airbnbs for the past year or two. Like I don't have a house. I live out of a freaking backpack and a suitcase and Airbnb everywhere. Long-term rentals usually, but sometimes short-term. And I'm at a point now where I might want to eliminate Airbnbs and just get a couple bases around the world, have 2 homes, one here, one there, pay the rent when I'm not there, whatever. At least I got them. And then stay at a hotel, a really nice hotel if I'm ever traveling to Vegas or something. But living out of Airbnbs has pros and cons.
I think it's amazing for a season.
Yeah, I'm in the season right now. I think I'm exiting this Airbnb season.
Yeah.
I was so excited for the season too. I thought I'd like crack the code. I was like, I don't need a house. I'll just do Airbnbs.
Sure.
But, and I'm sure it could work for somebody, but constantly hopping to house to house to house to house to house. The issue isn't actually perhaps the hopping. The issue is when I arrive at a new Airbnb, everything's different.
Bro.
The pillows are different.
Yes, sir.
The sun's coming in the room too early in this Airbnb. The dog's barking at this Airbnb too early in the morning, too late at night. This Airbnb's fridge doesn't work. This Airbnb's got cars going out super loud at night. This Airbnb's perfect. And then you move to the next one, like this one's not. Like, you know, you're just constantly having new experiences. I wish I could just like clone the same Airbnb experience, have that every time. That'd be great. And that's kind of what a hotel is. It's like the same hotel experience every night, unless you got noisy neighbors. But yeah, so I think I might want to eliminate so much travel. I've been traveling way too much lately.
Yeah, you start to end up feeling like a unrooted plant.
I feel homeless.
Sure.
I feel freaking homeless. People are like, where do you live? I'm like, I don't have a home.
Yeah.
Like, where's your base? I'm like, I don't have a base. I'm freaking homeless. And you're legitimately homeless when you check out of your Airbnb at 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from
the
11
next
to
Airbnb
3.
isn't till 4.
Yeah.
So between then and then, I could like bring all my shit to a cafe and just like sit there. And like, I'm genuinely homeless right now. It's like I got all this money in the bank, all this Bitcoin, but no home. Brutal.
So you're going to eliminate homelessness from your life?
Yes. Yes.
Future billionaire, Ted Carr, everybody.
Yes.
There'll be a link to Ted's community in the description if you fancy joining.
But don't join the community for the community. Join.
I committed the fatal sin
Yes,
there. Thank you for catching me. Dude, you close it. You close it.
If you want
Let's go.
the exact step-by-step advice that I gave Patrice to get her from $0 to $29,000, click the link under this video and you'll get that. Plus, you'll see exactly what I showed Farhoon to do to go from being $3,000 in debt to now doing over $100K a month. Plus, you'll get all the other step-by-step roadmaps I've given my other clients to help them go from 0 to 10K a month, plus within 30 to 90 days on Skool. Check out link via below.
It's like watching Bruce Lee throw a punch. Thanks, mate. Loved it.
Cheers.